Hello everyone, welcome to Inclusive Bharat and welcome to the daily editorial analysis of the Hindu newspaper. In this video, we'll be discussing the important editorials for 27th August 2024. So the first article, no more delays. This article discusses about the census. So the article discusses that there is a delay in conducting Indian census because this Indian census is critical exercise that collects a comprehensive data about the population. Yes. So Indian census, this collects a comprehensive data about the population, but there is a delay. That's what this article discusses. See, this census has to be taken or it should be supposed to be happen every 10 years. So in India, the census started from 1881. So the last census conducted in India is 2011, and the next one is supposed to be happened in 2021. But due to various delays, it has not been conducted yet. See, the census is crucial because it provides essential data that supports the creation and the implementation of public policies. See, the census is important because to implement public policies and allocations of government resources, and also the government if needs to plan for various social and economic programs. So for all these things, census is very much necessary because the census it serves as a foundation for many statistical surveys that guides the policy making, like if you see national family health survey or periodic labor force survey. For all this and to make many policies we need statistical surveys. So all these things comes from census. So let us understand this article in detail. Okay, so the article begins by highlighting that the union government consideration of including the caste enumeration in the upcoming census. So in this census, they will also include castes. What are the castes of each and every person in India? So caste enumeration means collecting a detailed information about their caste of an individual, which has been a demand by several political parties. So several political parties are demanding that this caste information of an individual has to be added in the census. However, the article argues that adding this layer of complexity should not further delay the already overdue census. See, already census, see, now it is 2024. Still, the census has not come out. So, adding this layer, again, adding the caste census, I mean, caste in the census. So, you can add it, but don't delay this. That's what the article discusses. What is the previous issue with the caste data? See, the article points out that the last attempt at the comprehensive caste survey, that is the socio-economic caste census of 2011, this is problematic. See, already we have taken caste census. That's called socio-economic and caste census, SCCC 2011. But it is problematic. That's what the article says. See, this SCCC data, which was found to be unwide, it's not very wide, and it is inaccurate, and ultimately unstable for the policy making. It is not ultimately it is unusable for the policy making. Okay, due to the past issues, the article suggests the government should rush into including caste enumeration without careful planning and preparation. So the government should not rush. See, the article says there is a delay. They should not delay also, but also it's stating that the government should not rush to include this caste enumeration without carefully planning and preparation. So, if you want to include it, we should plan it properly. That's what the article says. Okay. What is the impact and delay in public policies and governance? See, the delay in this census, conducting the census, it is not just a bureaucratic issue. It has a significant implication for governance and public policies. So the census data, this is crucial for implementing several public schemes. If you say National Food Security Act, if you want to implement it, or the National Social Assistance Program. So like this, there are many public schemes. To implement all these schemes, this census data is very crucial. Okay, additionally, if you see census data is used for delimitations of constituencies. See, we have in India, we have many states, many districts. So if you want to do the delimitation, that is the finding the boundaries, this is the boundary. That's all. So this delimitation of the constituencies, which determines the allocations of seats for the election. So we need the census data to see whether already whatever the delimitation is done in India, is this right? Or if we wanted to change it, for all these things, we need to have the census data because delimitation of this constituency, this will represent the seats of the election. Okay, let's now compare it with other countries. Say the union government is saying that, you know, during COVID-19 pandemic. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a delay in conducting the census. But it is noted that while 143 countries managed to conduct their census after the pandemic began, India remains to be a small group of 44 countries that have not. See, in India, in the world, 143 countries have already managed to conduct their census, even after pandemic. But India, there are 44 countries which have not. So India is among that 44 countries. See, if you see that 44 countries, if you see, those are those countries are very severely, very, they have experienced severe conflict or economic turmoils, such as Yemen, Syria, Afghanistan, which contrast sharp with India's relative stable condition. Because see, those countries are there are many problems, but India is relatively very stable. See, the article also mentions that the process of freezing the administrative boundaries, that is, the district, tahsils, towns, and municipal bodies, was supposed to be completed by June 30, 2024. Okay, but this step is necessary to start the census. If you want to start census, first thing is we have to freeze the administrative boundaries. That is, how much is the districts, how much is the district, how much is the tahsils, towns, and municipal bodies. But this freezing of administrative boundaries, this has already been extended 10 times since 2019, indicating repeated delays and possibly poor planning and political consideration. So, what are the consequences of not having an updated census data? So, without updated census data, many aspects of public life governance are affected. See, policies related to households, social consumption, health, labor, and other sectors rely on this data to set their sampling frames. Okay, many policies we need this data. So the lack of recent census data relies on older data of 2011 because we don't have a recent data for many policies framing or many things. We are relying on the older data 2011, but this 2011 is not accurate. But and also this not reflects the current realities, like what are the migration patterns. Yes, urbanization. See, in last 10 years, there might be a lot of migration happen. And if you see urbanization, it's growing rapidly. And also there are suburbanizations. So we don't know what is the current reality. So this reliance on outdated data leads to debates over methodologies and can be manipulated to suit political agendas. So we don't have this updated data. This will manipulate. This will lead to manipulate. So many people can manipulate this to suit their political agendas also. Okay. Yes. And what is the call to action for the government? See, the article concludes that by this concludes by urging that the union government, have to act responsibly and conduct the census without further delay. So, without delay, the government has to conduct census. It emphasizes the government must not be negligent in its duty, as timely census data is vital for effective governance and equitable distributions of resources. So, in order to have equitable distribution of resources and to have an effective governance, the census data is very important. So, what is the key takeaway from this? The census is critical for Indian governance, policy making, and delaying it as far-reaching consequences. Adding caste enumeration to the census, although important to some, should not further delay the process. Second thing, the third thing is the government must prioritize conducting the census promptly to ensure that the policies and resources are allocated based on accurate and up-to-date data. Okay, so these are the key takeaways from this article. So let's move on to the next article. So the next article, Unending War. So this article discusses about the recent attacks, and also it is an attack which is happening for more than a year in Israel, in West Asia, between Israel and Palestine. Let's understand this article in detail. Okay, this article which focuses on the ongoing West Asia, particularly the recent escalation between Israel and Hezbollah. See, Israel is a country, whereas Hezbollah, it is an Iran-backed Lebanese militia group. Okay, it is an Iran-backed Lebanese militia group. See, first let's understand the map. You see, you have Egypt here, and you have Jordan and Israel. This is Israel, and the colors in pink, these are Palestine. Palestine is split. If you see, you have Golanites here, and you have West Bank here, and you have the small Gaza Strip here. Okay, this is Gaza Strip. And you have Lebanon in the north and Syria in the northeast. And in the east, you have Jordan. And in the southwest, you have Egypt, which have border with Israel. Okay. Now, this article, which focuses on the ongoing conflict in West Asia, that too, especially the recent escalation between Israel and the Lebanese militia, that is Iran-backed Lebanese militia, that is Hezbollah. So this conflict is a part of a broader war which began in October 2023. This is not just the war which has started now. Okay, this started from October 2023, primarily involving Israel and Hamas, a Palestinian military group. So, okay, we have Hamas. This Hamas is a Palestinian. So you have Gaza Strip here, you have West Bank here. These all comes under Palestine. So, and in this Palestine, there is a group called Hamas. So this war started in October 23, were primarily involving this Israel and Hamas. Okay, the conflict initially centered around the Gaza Strip. Okay, this conflict initially started here only, and it involved only Gaza Strip, where Israel have conducted extensive military operation since the surprise attack by Hamas on October 7, 2023. See, on October 7 last year, Hamas surprisingly attacked Israel. So because of that, Israel have conducted extensive military operations. Okay. However, violence has since spread behind Gaza that involves other actors and regions, including Israel's northern border and southern Lebanon. If you see Israel's northern border, this area, and this Lebanon, this region, okay. Now, started here. Initially, the war started near Gaza Strip. Now it has involved many actors in many regions, that too, especially in Israel's northern border and southern Lebanon. Okay. Now let's understand in detail. Okay. This article begins by highlighting that the recent flare up in the hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. Okay. On August 25, this August 25, Israel launched a preemptive strikes on Lebanon, which was followed by a rocket and a drone attack from Hezbollah targeting Israel. See, initially, Hezbollah targeted Israel using rockets and drone. For that, Israel on August 25, they have launched a preemptive strikes on Lebanon. This escalation adds complexity to the ongoing conflict, which is no longer confined to Gaza, but spread to Israel's northern borders like Lebanon. Let's understand the Hezbollah's involvement. Okay, Hezbollahs have been actively involved in the conflict, launching hundreds of rocket attacks towards Israel over the past 10 months. Over the past 10 months, Hezbollah, they've involved in the conflict, launching hundreds of rockets. Okay, these actions are framed as act of solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. See, they are telling that we are helping the Palestinians in Gaza. So they are telling that our actions is because of the Israel's attacks on the Palestinian people. The conflict between Hezbollah and the Israel intensified following the Israelis' killing of Fawd Shukr, a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut in July 31. Why this attack? It's because why is Hezbollah attacked? Because Israel killed a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut in July 31st. His name is Fawd Shukr. The same day, Israel also targeted Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran also. Okay, so because of this only the Hezbollah have targeted. Now Israel's military response. In response to Hezbollah's attack, Israel have conducted numerous airstrikes on Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah's operative and also, but this target have also affected the civilians. Okay, on August 25, Israel justified its massive strike by claiming that it was acting defensively against the planned large-scale attack by Hezbollah. What is it telling? See, on August 25, Israel launched a preemptive strike on Lebanon. Why? They are stating, Hezbollah have already been planning for a large-scale attack, so we acted defensively. That's what Israel says. Despite this aggressive response, Hezbollah continued its attack, launching over 300 rockets, drones towards Israel, resulting in casualties, including the death of at least one Israeli soldier. Okay, this is what is happening. Now, signals of de-escalation but continued hostilities. What does that mean? See, there are intense exchange between both sides. See, there is a conflict between both the sides, but both sides indicating a willingness to de-escalate. They are trying to de-escalate. They are showing a willingness to de-escalate. That is, like see, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. He stated that the group had achieved its objective, while Israel Defense Minister Yoav Gallant mentioned that the Israel does not seek a regional war. See, Hezbollah leader is telling their group have achieved what its objective is. Israel Defense Minister is stating that we don't need a regional war. Both of them are having a willingness to de-escalate. However, the article notes that neither side is genuinely stepping back. They are not genuinely just telling in the namesake of the world. To the world, they are just telling that we don't need war. But here, genuinely, they are not stepping back. Both the countries are engaging in actions that could lead to further escalations. See, ongoing conflict in Gaza, if you see that in that small Gaza strip, Israel continued offensive in Gaza has resulted in significant Palestinian casualties. For example, see, you have 40,000 people reported dead in Israel, I mean, in Gaza, due to Israel's attack. Despite calls for ceasefire, including the mediation by US, this US which always supports Israel actions diplomatically and militarily, there is no sign that the Israel plans to end its operations in the Gaza zone. See, there is a call for a ceasefire, which is mediated by US, but US always supports diplomatically and militarily to Israel's action. They have the call for a ceasefire, but there is no sign that the Israel plans to end its operation. What is Hezbollah's stance and Israel's strategy? See, Hezbollah have made it clear that it will continue to attack on Israel as long as the war in the Gaza persists. If Israel is going to still have that kind of mindset that the war in Gaza, Israel will never step back. I mean, the Hezbollah will never step back. Israel, on the other hand, it is attempting to weaken Hezbollah through targeted bombing and assassination of its leader. However, these actions have not deterred Hezbollah, which continues its attack, causing significant disruption in northern Israel, turning the area into a depopulated flooding zone in the northern part of the Israel. See both sides. If you see Hezbollah is telling that it will continue its attack until the war persists in Gaza Strip. Israel, on the other hand, it is targeting the Hezbollah's leaders through various means and targeted bombing and assassinations. But these actions have not deterred Hezbollah to continue its attack. So that's why now what happened is this Israel's northern part, it has become a depopulated flooding zone. So the article highlights that the challenges Israel facing in achieving its military objective. So challenges that the Israel faces in achieving its military objective. While Israel initially aimed at dismantle Hamas in Gaza to enhance its security, the conflict instead led to increased insecurity, particularly along the northern border of Hezbollah. That's what it's very simple. The article says it started in Gaza, and once this Hamas group attacked Israel, the Israel force wanted to dismantle the Hamas group. But now you see the war has gone behind. It has increased insecurity along the northern borders, like with Lebanon. So the article suggests that Israel lacked an effective military solution to counter Hezbollah as long as the war in the Gaza continues. The risk of the border regional conflict remains high. Okay, so what the article says that the Israel has to step back from the Hamas, that is, from the Gaza Strip. So what are the key takeaway? The conflict in West Asia initially focused on Gaza, expanded to other regions. Both Israel and Hezbollah have engaged in escalatory actions with significant casualties on both sides, and there is no immediate signs of ceasefire. Third thing, the conflict spread to the northern Israel and Lebanon, demonstrating the complexities and challenges Israel faces in managing multiple fronts. The continuation of war in Gaza and the involvement of Hezbollah complicated Hezbollah's. I'm sorry. So the continuations of the war in the Gaza and the involvement of Hezbollah complicate efforts for the peaceful resolution with significant risks of further escalations and instability in the region. So these are the key takeaways from this article. So that is all about this article. Let's move on to the next article. The next article, Pragyan rover reveals signs of magma ocean on ancient moon. So this article discusses about uh, in the ancient moon there was a magma ocean. So recently the Pragyan rover reveals this sign. Let's understand this article in detail. So the article discusses the significant discovery made by India's Chandrayaan 3 mission, specifically by the Pragyan rover, which landed on the moon's south pole in August 2023. So August 2023, in the Chandrayaan 3 mission, our Pragyan rover, which landed in the moon's south pole. Okay, let's understand. See, Chandrayaan 3 mission, it is the India's third lunar exploration mission conducted by ISRO. The mission consisted of a lander named Vikram. It is a lander, and then a rover named Pragyan. Okay, we had lander named Vikram and rover called Pragyan. So the primary goal of this mission is to explore this lunar south pole region, which is relatively unexplored. No other countries have explored this region, so it is unexplored compared to the equatorial region studied by early missions from the US, that is the Apollo mission, and the Soviet Union lunar mission. Soviet Union's lunar mission and the US Apollo mission, they studied the equatorial region, but no one have reached South Pole to explore it. So it is relatively unexplored. So to explore that region, that is the primary objective of the Chandrayaan 3 mission. What is the significance of lunar South Pole? So this area is of greater interest because it has a craters that are permanently shadowed, potentially containing water ice, minerals that could provide insights into the moon's history and the early solar system. So the South Pole is a shadowed region. Potentially, it will have water ice and minerals. So when we understand these things, this can provide insights into the moon's history and also the early solar system also. So what are the key findings of Pragyan rover? So the discovery of ferron anorthosite. Ferron anorthosite, very important. See, the Pragyan rover discovered the type of rock. It's a type of rock, okay, in the lunar soil. That is ferron and anorthosite. This rock type is crucial because it suggests the presence of an ancient magma ocean on the moon. There was a big magma ocean in the moon. The presence of this rock highlights or suggests that the idea is that billions of years ago, the moon was covered by a molten layer that slowly cooled, solidified to form various type of rocks, include the ferron anorthosite. So billions of years ago, moon was covered by a molten layer, and as days goes on, as years goes on, it slowly cooled down and it formed various rocks. In that, one type of rock is ferron anorthosite. Support for the magma ocean theory. See, just having this rock, if you find this kind of rock, how does that support that there is a magma ocean in the moon? See, the finding aligns with the previous discovery from the Apollo mission and the lunar mission, which found similar rocks near to the lunar equator. They had the same kind of rocks in lunar equator. The presence of ferron and anthracite is different regions of the moon that suppose the theory that the moon was once covered by a vast magma ocean. The impact of South Pole Aitken Basin. In the South Pole, there is a basin called Aitken Basin. So Vikram, the lander of the Chandrayaan 3, landed 300 kilometers away from the South Pole, that is Aitken Basin, the largest and the deepest impact crater on the moon. So this Aitken Basin, it is the largest and the deepest crater on the moon. Okay, scientists believe that the massive meteoroid created the basin. See, there are two things. One is METE or meteor and meteoroid, O-R-I-T-E. Nothing. You see, meteor and meteoroid, these are these are a massive body. You know, when it is just it just moves in the space, we call it as meteor. When it comes and hits, when it comes and hits the earth, or when it hits the moon, then we call it as meteoroid. Okay, the scientists believe that this meteoroid created this basin, excavating materials from deep inside the moon, possibly from the upper mantle. So when this meteoroid hit the basin, we can get the materials which are deep inside the moon, possibly in the upper mantle. See, when this is the moon surface, and when a meteoroid comes and hits, it forms a crater over here. See, it is like it will be nearly very large distance deep inside it. So instead of getting the fossils or any substance on the surface, this part, this crater, this will give you more understanding what are the materials that are in the upper mantle. That's what this uh, it says. So the impact could have mixed these deep material with the surface material. So this impact, this meteor when hit this surface of the moon, there will be mix up of the upper soil and upper lunar surface materials with the deep materials, spreading them across the lunar surface, including near the landing sites of Chandrayaan 3. So when there is an attack, there might be some displacements also. So if, for example, our rover is here, it's very near, nearly 300 kilometers, there should be spread of those particles also. That's what this uh, article says. So how the discovery was made? So the discovery was made using APXS instrument. See this Pragyan rover, it is equipped with alpha particle X-ray spectrometer, which help to determine the chemical compositions of lunar soil. This instrument works by emitting an alpha particle and X-ray onto the lunar surface and analyzing the energy and backscatter to identify the different elements on the moon. See, it's very simple. You have the Pragyan rover. This Pragyan rover is equipped with APXS, that is alpha particle X-ray spectrometer. This alpha particle X-ray spectrometer, this emits alpha particle and X-ray onto the lunar surface. So this will analyze the energy and the backscatter to identify different elements and minerals. Whatever the minerals or their elements is there, this alpha particle and X-ray spectrometer can identify it. So during the 2-week mission, Pragyan moved cautiously, moving around the landing sites, analyzing dusts and small rocks at various locations. The APXS instrument detected the presence of magnesium-rich materials. It found magnesium-rich materials, ferron and orthosites, suggesting that the site was rich in an ancient, deep-seated lunar materials. Okay. So understanding the moon's origin. So the discovery of this rock, ferron and orthosites, add the evidence to the theory of moon was once molten. supporting the idea of magma ocean. This helps scientists to understand Moon's early geological history and its formation after the colossal impact between the Earth and a Mars-sized body. So what? Let's see how Moon's origin. We have a lot of information. It is said that there is a Mars-sized body which hit the Earth, and that's called the colossal impact. From that impact, Moon was formed. So this is one theory. So this recent discovery that uh, uh, makes the scientist to understand about the moon's early geological history and its formation. So the data collected by Pragyan is expected to continue providing new insights. So scientists are analyzing minor elements found in the lunar soil, which could offer more details about the moon's composition and history. There are minor elements also. Scientists are analyzing those things. So, see, if you see the importance of landing mission, now, see, because of the landing and the rover is bringing this kind of insights, that's we should understand that well, landing mission is very important. Says Dr. Santosh, a key scientist of the mission, he emphasized the importance of landing mission over the orbiter mission. It should not be only the orbiter mission, we should have a landing mission. Because if you see an orbiter which is revolving around, okay, this is an orbiter, okay, which is revolving around the moon. Okay, the orbiter can identify elements on the surfaces, but they cannot determine their abundance or detect elements that might be hidden in the shadow region. It can just find what are the substances available on the surfaces, but it cannot find what is there in the shadow regions. So to collect those ground, the data collected on the ground provides more precise and reliable information. That's called ground truth. What is the ground truth? Okay. So landing mission is very important to understand the ground truth. So as a conclusion, if you see Chandrayaan 3 mission has provided valuable data which supports the theory of a magma ocean on the moon, which gives new insights into the moon's geological history also. This discovery made by the Pragyan rover, detailed surface exploration, represents a significant achievement of for ISRO and contributes to our understanding of the moons and its origin. So this is all about this Chandrayaan 3 mission. Let's move on to the next article. So the next article on the unrest in Balochistan region. Balochistan, it is a province in Pakistan, which is located in the southwestern part of Pakistan. You can see it in the map. This is Balochistan. Okay. So this article, discusses about the recent unrest in Balochistan, a part of region. It is a region in Pakistan and provides a detailed analysis of the causes and the implication of the ongoing protests and the political turmoil. So to understand this article better, let's break down the key points. And also we also include some historical and geopolitical background information also. See, Balochistan, it is a region with a distinct culture and historical identity. It is having a distinct culture and an historical identity. So it is currently divided between three countries: Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan. You see, you have Iran in the west, Balochistan, and then you have the entire Pakistan. If you see this Balochistan, it is divided between these three countries. See, the Baloch people, who inhabit in this region, see, I'm telling that they are currently divided between Iran and Afghanistan. It means that currently, whatever the Balochistan region is there, it is part of Pakistan. But when when it was divided in the past, before Pakistan getting independence, it was it was covering few parts of Iran, few parts of Afghanistan, and few parts of Pakistan. Okay, so the Baloch people who inhabit in this region have a strong sense of ethnic and cultural identity that is distinct from the rest of Pakistan. The rest of Pakistan is having a distinct culture, distinct ethnicity. Okay, so let's understand the overall history of this Balochistan. Okay, see, in 1947, British India was partitioned. So then at that point, we had Khan of Kalat, there's the princely state in Balochistan, declared independence. Okay. However, 1948, what Pakistan government did is used their political and military pressure to force this Khan of Kalat to accede to Pakistan, leading to incorporation of Balochistan into Pakistan. So Pakistan used their political and military pressure to incorporate this Balochistan into Pakistan in 1948. There is an important and significant port in Balochistan that's called Gwadar Port. I have a map, I'll show its location. This was initially the part of Sultanate of Oman, and this was purchased by Pakistan in 1958. This adds to the region's complex history of political integration and resistance. So, the political and economic marginalization. What is that? See, in 1955, the one unit policy was introduced by Pakistan government. So which is this one unit policy? What is this one unit policy? This aimed to merge all the provinces of the West Pakistan into a single administrative unit to counterbalance the East Pakistan. Now it's Bangladesh. One unit policy is nothing but merging all the provinces of the West Pakistan into a single administrative unit in order to counterbalance East Pakistan. This policy led to a significant centralization of power and effectively reducing the provincial autonomy. Unlike India, it it significantly increased the centralization and fueling resentment in Balochistan. Balochistan people, obviously, they don't have the provincial autonomy. Okay, so even after the abolitions of one unit scheme in 1970, Balochistan did not gain real autonomy. See, this one unit policy, this was abolished in 1970, but Balochistan, they did not gain this real autonomy. And Islamabad, that is the Pakistan government, continued to have a significant say in its governance. The lack of autonomy has been recurring cause of unrest and protest in this region. Now, this unrest and this protest is because of the lack of autonomy, which is recurring from the past. Economically, if you see, Balochistan is one of the most resource-rich region of Pakistan because you have deposits of copper, gold, coal, and natural gases in this region. Despite this, it remained one of the poorest and most underdeveloped regions in Pakistan, with minimal benefits from its resource reaching the local population. The exploitation of these resources by external entities have further aggravated local discontent also. So, what is the current unrest and the protest? So, the recent protest was organized by Baloch Yagizri Committee, BYC, under the banner called Baloch Raj Muchi, that is Baloch National Gathering in Gwadar. Okay, this protest is organized in Gwadar by BYC. So the protest aimed at highlighting the several grievances, including human rights violation in this region. Resource exploitation is another reason, and the government's failure to provide basic amenities. There is no basic amenities. There are human rights violation. Resource exploitation is happening in this Balochistan region. That is the reason for the protest. The protests have led to clash between the protesters and the security forces, resulting in deaths, injuries, and also arrest. There are a lot of deaths, injuries, and arrests. The situation escalated when security forces blockaded major roads, leading to the shortage of essential goods such as food, medicine, and petrol. Yeah. So when security forces blocked the roads and essential supplies like food, medicines, and petrols were not offered, the situation escalated. Notably, if you see, there are women participation also, which is unusual in the region with many restrictions on women rights. There are many restrictions on women rights in this region. That's why women are also participated in this protest. This participation highlights the deep rooted resentment against the violent tactics employed by security forces and broader social political grievances of Baloch people. So, what are the causes? See, there are political causes, economic causes, and how security and military operations are done in Balochistan. If you see, there is lack of autonomy. Balochistan have long struggled for a greater political autonomy. Even after that one unit scheme was abolished, we see that the real autonomy is not given. to the Balochistan people, the centralized tendency, the central government control and frequent dismissals of provincial government has led to the widespread dissatisfaction. One thing. Second is human rights violation. There is seen incidents of enforced disappearance. Enforced disappearance means you are making the people to go away from the region because that will affect in exploring the resources in that region. So enforced disappearance is happening. Extrajudicial killing is also happening. Without judicial trial, there are killings, and other forms of state repressions are also happening. Security forces have often been accused of being for these actions under the guise of counter-insurgency operation. They say they do this extrajudicial killing, enforced disappearance by telling that these are counter-insurgency operations. Second is economic causes. You see, resources are exploited. Despite being the resource-rich Balochistan, as I said, it is rich in copper and it is rich in gold, and also there are oil. Balochistan remained economically marginalized with little to no economic benefits from the resources reaching the local populations. This economic neglect, this economic neglect has contributed to the region's underdevelopment and fueled local resentment. Infrastructure and development. If you see large infrastructure projects like China's China-Pakistan economic corridor have led to fears among of the demographic changes. There are infrastructure as a development, especially the China-Pakistan economic corridor. But this has led to fears of demographic changes. They might change the demographic, loss of livelihoods also, and further economic marginalization also. Local communities they feel that excluded from decision-making process, leading to perceptions of exploitation and neglect. Security, say security and military operations. Pakistan government are often resorted heavy-handed security measures to quell dissent in Balochistan. The use of military forces, enforced disappearances, and other prospective tactics have only intensified the grievances and fueled further resistance. So, political causes, economic causes, and the military and the security operations, stating that it's a counter-insurgency operations, but there are enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. All these things are the causes for the unrest in Balochistan. What is China's role in Balochistan? You see, China-Pakistan economic corridor. This project is linking Gwadar port in Balochistan to Kashagar in China. You see, you have this Gwadar port in the Arabian Sea. From here, you have the China-Pakistan economic corridor, which has its path inside Pakistan, and it also moves through the Pakistan occupied Kashmir (POK), and it moves and reaches Kashmir. Kashgar. Okay, Kashgar region in China. This has led to significant Chinese investment in the region. Projects include mining, energy, transportation infrastructure. These are all included in this China-Pakistan economic corridor. While the Pakistan government views this Gwadar as a key economic asset, there are concerns about potential militarization of this port and the impact of local communities, including the displacement of local population, one thing, and restrictions on traditional livelihoods such as fishing. The local population, you know, they think they might be marginalized, they might be militarized, and also they would displace the local communities, and also the local livelihoods such as fishing are also will get affected because of this China-Pakistan economic corridor. So the presence of Chinese trawlers and infrastructure project caused anxiety among the local population about the losing their livelihoods and their natural resources and traditional means of livelihood. Many locals feel that the economic benefits of these projects are not reaching them, and the region's demographic profile is changing due to influx of non-local workers. Yes, see when this China-Pakistan economic uh, corridor is coming, there are a number of projects are coming into this region. You need to employ local populations, but it is not happening. Their demographic profiles are changing, and non-local workers are working in this projects. So this is a cause of concern. So what is the way forward? Need for dialogue and reconciliation. So article suggests that Pakistan government should adopt more compassionate and inclusive approach to address the grievances of Baloch people. This includes recognizing and addressing the issue of missing persons, socio-economic disparities, and the need for genuine political autonomy. Yes, The government should recognize and address the issues of missing persons, and whatever the social economic disparities are there, you need to address that. And also need for a genuine political autonomy. It's a shift from purely security oriented approach to more developmental focused and right based strategies recommended. You should not always focus on security oriented approach at all. The government should focus on development focused and right based strategy. See, the unrest in this Balochistan highlights the broader challenges faced by Pakistan in national building, especially when it comes to integrating diverse ethnic and cultural groups into a cohesive national framework. If you take India, India as being a diverse country, we integrate all the ethnic and cultural groups. That's why that is how a nation is built. But Pakistan, in order to have a national building, it has to integrate all these things, ethnic and cultural groups, you know, and a cohesive national framework is also needed. Similar challenges have been seen in other regions of South Asia, such as Sri Lanka, Myanmar, where the failures to address regional aspiration leads to prolonged conflict and instability. So this is happening even in other South Asian regions like Sri Lanka and Myanmar also. Or what is the conclusion? See, as the unrest in Balochistan is a complex issue rooted in its historical grievances and political marginalization and economic neglect, heavy-handed security tactics. All these things are complex issues. So understanding these factors is crucial for any long-term resolution. The article underscores the need for the Pakistan to address these grievances through dialogues, greater autonomy, inclusive development, rather than relying solely on forces. This approach is essential not only for the peace in Balochistan, but also for the stability of a broader region. So that is all about this article. So if you like my initiative, you can like the video, you can share, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.